Haji, very good morning. So today we will be explaining about the Kirloskar engine, and this Kirloskar engine is basically a four-stroke diesel engine, or we can see the main parts actually. So this one is our piston. This is the piston, and this is the connecting rod. This one, and this one is the gudgeon pin or the piston pin. It actually connects the connecting rod with the piston, and we can see very minute things are there, which are called piston rings. Actually, there are three piston rings in this engine, and this is the sectional view. Actually, this engine has been cut in the form of section, and this is the water jacket. These are the spaces for water jacket, and this is the valve. Basically, this is the inlet valve, and we can say at the top of this is the rocker. This one where I am putting the pen, this one is the rocker, and what is the mechanism for it? The mechanism for it, the essentiality, the use of this rocker arm is to facilitate the mechanism for the up and down movement of the valves, and also synchronize it with the motion of the camshaft. Now this we can see this one, the other end of the rocker arm, it is connected to the push rod, but however we may not be able to see it. And anyways, now this thing, this particular instrument that we have, this is the diesel fuel injector, and how it works, let us take a look. When we this is the air filter. Air comes from the air filter and this filters the air, and this is the intake manifold, and through this pipe, through the intake manifold, the air is sucked into the combustion chamber during the suction stroke, and air is taken inside. Let us take an example of it. So we can see when the piston moves downward, so this much portion so this is the air is taken inside the combustion chamber. So during the suction stroke it happens, and we can see in the suction stroke the movement of the piston is from the top dead center to bottom dead center, like this. So it is in the same situation. Now we see that what happens. This is the let us have a close look over that also. We see at the back side of this engine we have the fuel tank. Fuel is filled in the fuel tank, and after filling, this is the this one actually. This one is nothing but this is the fuel filter, and this link has been broken. Otherwise it is in continuation from this point to this point. It is connected, but it has been broken in this model. So fuel from the fuel tank, it goes to the diesel fuel pump by means of another filter. So this is another kind of filter. So most probably this is the coarse filter, and this is the fine filter. This one we can see, this one is the fine filter. And let us now have a close look over the fuel, we can say fuel pump. This is the fuel pump. This is the diesel fuel pump, and its main function is to increase the pressure of the fuel, so that increase the pressure of the fuel so that it can be sent to the diesel fuel injector. From here the pressure is increased. Diesel fuel pump, it increases the pressure, and from here this line, this fuel line leads to the fuel injector. And now the question arises, a fuel injector actually, what is the use of it? The fuel injector injects the fuel at the time before the piston reaches the top dead center. So I have just explained you that why the fuel injection is necessary before the piston reaches the top dead center. So we will be although we will be explaining this question in detail in the classroom, however it is essential for us to know what is the pressure at the delivery point. See, we can say this is the nozzle. This one is the nozzle of the this fuel injector, and the delivery pressure may be as high as 100 bars. The reason is that the injection of the fuel in the combustion chamber takes place before TDC. So we can say when the piston moves to TDC. So for example, now the piston is moving upwards. For example, during the upward motion of the piston, the pressure inside the combustion chamber will be very high, and in order to inject the fuel inside the combustion chamber, the pressure at the outlet of the fuel injector, it has to be higher than what it exists in the combustion chamber. Then only we will be able to inject the fuel, that is the diesel fuel. So this is the all about the fuel, how the fuel is injected. So we can also see the outlet valve. This one is the exhaust valve, not the outlet valve. You can please correct the terminology. So similarly, outlet valve functions in a very similar manner. So whenever we are able to just you know, there is one rocker arm and the push rod. You can see it is moving up and down also. So this is a model which is essentially meant to be rotated from the hand itself. Okay, it can be rotated with the help of hand, and we can see this part is a flywheel. Flywheel acts as a reservoir of energy, and why it is essential, that we have already explained it in the classroom. And now we will have a close look over the crankshaft. What is crankshaft? Why do we actually require it? So this particular portion, this particular shaft is the crankshaft, and this particular portion of the crankshaft is called as the crank. So I think the things are more or less clear, but I will be showing how does a crankshaft actually works, or what is the exact what is the exact shape of a crankshaft. So we can see this is the shape of a crankshaft. Now we can have a look over it. Its shape is quite zigzag in nature. So the reason is that this is the crankshaft of a four-cylinder four-stroke engine. So its shape is made in such a manner that it is able to accommodate the four connecting rods, and these heavy weights, or the cranks, we can say the heavy weights over the cranks is provided so that there is no problem for balancing. For the balancing purpose, we provide this kind of shape to the cranks. So this is all about the crankshaft. We can also have a close look over other kinds of crankshaft. So this is also another kind of crankshaft, we can say. And once again, this one is meant for four-stroke engines only. Four-stroke four-cylinder engines. Why four-cylinder? The reason arises because there are actually four we can say slots that we have already in this one. So we can say 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these four slots are there, so where we can be able to assemble the connecting rods, and now the question arises how we can be able to assemble it properly. So this is the shape of a this is a connecting rod, and we can see very well that we can disassemble the connecting rod from here. This is the bolted assembly. There is no bolt here, it has been already taken out. So this part can be disassembled, and after its this part can be disassembled, and after disassembly it can be fixed over to the crankshaft, and the bottom part, which is this one, it can be once again assembled by means of bolted assembly. So this part is the camshaft actually. This is camshaft, and the function of camshaft is to function of cam and follower mechanism is to facilitate the closing and opening of the valves properly. This is the piston actually, and generally piston is made from the aluminum alloy. The reason is we want that the weight of the automobile vehicle, whatever we have, it should not be very high. So that is why it is made from the aluminum alloy, generally cast aluminum alloy. However, we can have bigger size piston also. These pistons are also of the same size. So this is a bigger size piston actually. This is a piston which is made in bigger size. These slots are there. We can observe these slots in the piston, and these slots are for the piston rings actually. So there are 3 piston rings which will be inserted here. 3 piston ring, one here, another one here, and another one here. So we will have the 3 piston rings actually. So this is once again the camshaft, and this is the timing gear which we have seen. Okay, this is the timing gear, and we have seen it in the Kirloskar engine also, in the assembly of the Kirloskar engine. So this is all about the engine, and let us have a close look over the another model of the engine. We have this engine, and this engine is essentially a single cylinder engine. So what do we do? This is actually and it is operatable by hand. These are the fins. So let us now have a close look. How does it function? So this is the handle. I am revolving it. I am rotating it, not revolving. Let us correct the terminology. So as I am rotating it, as I am giving rotation to it, we see that this part, this is actually this handle is connected to the crankshaft, and as I am rotating the crankshaft, what is happening? The piston is coming up. The piston is coming up. We can see this is the topmost position of the piston. Piston cannot cannot come more than this position. So this is the top dead center, and as I am giving even a very small rotation beyond this point, piston will start running downwards. That also signifies that this is the top dead center. This position is the top dead center. Now I am continuing my rotation. The piston is going down. Now we can see inside this cylinder also that there is a point beyond which the piston cannot go down. Mean this is the bottommost point of the piston, and as and even if I continue my rotation further, the piston, instead of moving down, it will start coming up. You can see. So that was the point. So I am going back to this point. This was the point of this one. This one is the point of the bottom dead center. This one signifies the bottom dead center. Now I am continuing the rotation. Please also have a look over the rotation, or not the rotation, the movement of the valves. So these are the two valves actually. One is the inlet valve, another one is the exhaust valve, and this is the cylinder head. This one is the cylinder head, and this one is the engine. That's the engine head. Cylinder head. This is the cylinder head or the engine head, and this one is the entire engine assembly that we have seen. Now almost we have covered all the things. This is the crankcase. We have to note that this one is the crankcase, and so that is all about the basic terminology and basic parts of the engine. Now let us go back to the Kirloskar engine. We have come to the Kirloskar engine, and we can see that the difference between the shape of the crankcase. The crankcase shape is like this, and it contains some lubricating oil also. Oil is present. However, in the previous model of the engine that we have discussed, there was no lubricating oil in that. So this is all about the Kirloskar engine. So, and we have discussed the basic terminology, basic parts of the engine. Thank you very much.